what was I going to say? Oh, I did this podcast the other day. These two really funny guys. They're they do an Ozzy podcast.
Get out of here.
They do, there's these two guys.
Yeah.
The podcast is called Diary of a Madman.
Yeah.
And they're basically like two of the biggest Ozzy nerds I've ever met. They know literally everything about everything with every rumor and every, like, they're like Ozzy Scholars. And it was actually a lot of fun. They were like really like getting into the
Are they funny?
Yeah, they're really, but they're like incredibly passionate about everything you've ever done. And so they were like really getting into the weeds about like, oh, do you know anything about this and that? And like, of course they brought up the Randy tapes, and they were asking about the Steve Vai album and the Mark Hudson and the Rasputin and like all the stuff that people have heard about, but no one's ever heard. And so it was really, it was kind of interesting to,
God, they've gone that deep.
Oh, there's deep. And then these guys were like way deep. And they were like, they have like 1,000 to 1,500 weekly listeners. And they started doing it because they met on a message board where people were just like talking back and forth about you and your career. And then they started a podcast.
That's fun.
That's pretty cool, don't you think?
It is.
Where did you get that from?
So that podcast I did with those guys,
they played it.
Yeah.
Diary of the Madmen, the ultimate Ozzy Osbourne podcast. Available now wherever you stream your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Make sure you tune in where we talk about all things Ozzy and all things Ozzy related. We are the ultimate Ozzy historians.